Dear Reddit, today I fucked up by sticking a pop socket to my phone. I think it's supposed to go on the phone, but now I can't get it off. By the way, it's Blake's emblem from Ruby. I didn't back up on that part. Hey guys, that's Hias here. Today we're checking out we're gonna check out the top 10 of all time of today I fucked up. So let's sit back. I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna take these off because I'm probably speaking way too loud for the video. And we're gonna go for the top 10 of these I fucked up moments. Okay, number 10. Today, I fucked up by confiscating my son's Game Boy and hiding it for 18 years. This is a long fuck up. My son was not doing his homework, so I confiscated his GBA, Game Boy A? I don't know what the A stands for. I told him he would get it back next week. Well, he's a pretty clever dude and knew all my hiding places, so I put it someplace he would never look. Except I suffered a TBI a few years earlier and I forget stuff. So when he did his homework and asked for it back after a week, I could not find it. I looked everywhere. Obviously, not everywhere. Then we moved house and I still didn't find it. He was doing the SpongeBob meme. 18 years later. I was donating some coats I had not worn in a long time. And in the pocket of a Vietnamese trench coat from the 1930s, I found his Game Boy Advance. Oh, okay, so that's what the A stands for. And turned it on. And it worked. Pokemon appeared. I put fresh batteries into it and handed it to my 28-year-old son, who proceeded to laugh for a good 5 minutes, then played it for a few hours, then proceeded to tell my wife and other adult children how silly I was. TLDR, hid kid's Game Boy, forgot where, found it almost 20 years later. Family has further proof that I am an idiot. Yep, you are a dumbass. Although I cannot say that's your fault because you suffer from a TBI, which gave you retrograde amnesia, I think it is. Yeah, retrograde amnesia. So I think you're good. Today I fucked up by stuffed my face with edibles before dinner with my wife's parents. Extra large. Oh, this one's gonna be a while. Get comfy, we got a story. Recently I traveled to Denver, Colorado, with my wife and my wife's parents as a resident of a non-legalized state and as someone who is too much of a pussy to regularly buy illegal drugs. The thing I was looking forward to most was the chance to buy fancy legal weed. Yep. What could possibly go wrong? I just high off your ass from weed brownies. So the first thing I do upon arriving, and after successfully ditching the in-laws, is drag my wife to a nearby dispensary for a shopping spree. And oh my god, it was just like my dreams. It was just like in my dreams. Tons of different variants in neat little sample jars and a team of helpful stoners walking me through the various strains. There's strains of weed? Are you looking for a mellow body high? Or you want something that gives you a bit more pep and energy? Or are you just hoping for something light to take the stress off? Oh, this is... So this was what the stick of truth was. No, the fractured butthole was parodying on in in the game. These places. Yes, yes, and yes. I reply eagerly, like a fat kid in a candy store, and request an eighth ounce of about 7 different options. In hindsight, if I learned anything from this experience, it is that my math and science teachers never taught me basic information, like what is an ounce? How much weed can a person consume in a single weekend? Sure, I can tell you when two speed trains leaving separate stations will collide or recite Avogadro's number, but it turns out that none of that information is particularly relevant to getting high in a responsible and efficient manner, because drugs. And it was at this dispensary that I also learned that you can't actually smoke in public places, including the hotel that my wife and I were staying at. As a result, before leaving, I begged my wife to buy some edibles so that I could bunch on until we found a place to properly get lit. Ooh. After expressing shock to the absurd volume of drugs that we were buying, unlike me, she is the product of private school and understands the imperial measurement system. She relents, and we walk out of the store with what felt like a dump truck of weed, plus a small package of seemingly innocuous ginger snap cookies. Those cookies have weed in them as well. Weed cookies. We finally get back to the hotel room, tear those bad boys open, and only find about a dozen tiny cookies, roughly the size of a quarter. What the fuck, Denver? Seeing the skepticism and hunger in my eyes, my wife warns me that I should go easy and look at the back of the package first before trying one. Dose size, half a cookie. I read silently as I start taking micro bites from the edges, like a giant chinchilla gnawing on the That's an analogy right there, I guess. But what kind of savage only eats half a cookie? So a second later, I covertly pop the remainder into my mouth. And then I quickly stuff another 2 cookies in my mouth for good measure. The moment my wife turns her back. Bruh. You're gonna be so high. We may not have legal weed back home, but I routinely devour an entire package of Milanos in one sitting without breaking a sweat. Your move, tiny ginger snaps. About 30 minutes later, we are in the backseat of her parents' rental car on the way to dinner. And that's when things start to go tits up. My stomach growls loudly and angrily. My wife looks at me with inquisitive eyes that seem to say, diarrhea. I merely clutch my tummy and rumble something about altitude sickness. You didn't eat a whole cookie, did you? 10% in genuine concern and 90% in seething irritation. Of course not. I ate 3 cookies. I respond, avoiding eye contact for the remainder of the car ride. A few minutes later, we are climbing out of her parents' rental car and heading into some trendy farm-to-table restaurant. I don't remember how I made it to my seat, and I don't remember even looking at the menu. But I do remember the concerned look on the waiter's face as he asked me if I was doing alright. Keep it together, man, I say to myself. But my wife's sudden groan suggests that I may have also said that to the waiter. Things are going downhill fast. Oh, the waiter nods sympathetically and takes our orders and heads to the next table. The moment he walks away, my wife is staring daggers at me. I start to worry that the jig is up. You are sweating from your entire face, she says, with both pity and disgust. Not quite knowing what to do, I reach for a napkin and proceed to blot my cheeks, nose, neck, chin, forehead, ass, my arms, my ass. At this point, my wife's mum looks over me with concern. Are you alright? She asks kindly. Yeah, the food is just a bit spicier. Oh no. I, re- I reply, far too quick to realize that we had literally just ordered. And there is nothing on the table except for a basket of dinner rolls. My wife kicks me under the table to grab my attention. Bathroom, now. She hisses, get it together. I reluctantly get up from the table and head for the toilet. After splashing several handfuls of water on my face, I approach a urinal and start to pee. Now, one of the more disconcerting effects of those tiny ginger snap monsters is the feeling that time has become untethered from reality. As I am peeing, I start to get the very unsettling feeling that I have been taking a piss for the better part of an hour, and that my wife must be pacing around the restaurant worried about me. Oh no, what's gonna happen? But deep down, I know that is absurd. I've been peeing all my life, sometimes multiple times a day. I've probably taken more than 50,000 leaks, and it usually takes about a minute at most. So given that my typical pee is no more than 60 seconds, and given that it feels like I am about halfway done, that means I've probably been standing here about 30 seconds, right? But the guy at the urinal next to me doesn't respond, and instead starts shuffling away from me midstream like a startled penguin. I try, albeit unsuccessfully, to break eye contact. After apologizing, I again splash some water in my face and return to my seat, making sure to apologize to the table for being gone for such a long time, just in case my mouth was off. Next, I try briefly to engage in small talk with my wife's father, but I am far too hard to understand what either of us are saying. Not wanting to start laughing uncontrollably at the wrong moment, or really at any moment, I figured the safest idea is to nod my head periodically and drink a ton of water. Nothing cures mental fatigue like water, right? To my wife's horror, I stand up, grab my water glass, and thrust it out to the waiter, who is unfortunately on the opposite side of the restaurant. But he turns out to be really cool, and after making his way over to our table, suggests and tells me that he'll do his best to keep me stocked with ice water for the rest of the meal. He also helpfully suggests that if the dinner rolls aren't too spicy for me, I should probably eat one or two so that I'm not sitting there on an empty stomach. Smart man. You're always gonna eat when you have weed. However, after going through all the bread on the table and 3 glasses of water, I start to get worried that I need actual food to offset the growing paranoia from those tiny ginger snap devils. Do you think I should flag the waiter again and ask what's taking so long? I suggest helpfully to my wife. What? We literally just ordered 3 fucking minutes ago. What? 3 minutes? And that exchange, my wife loses her cool. How many cookies did you eat? She demands. Whoa there, took mama. I respond, somewhat horrified at her outburst. I had a few cookies, but keep it down. I don't want your parents to know how fucked up I am right now. Really? They are sitting 2 feet away from you. They know. I look up, and for the first time, notice both of my in-laws just staring at me for what literally felt like an eternity. TLDR. Ate way too many edibles on a trip and wigged out during a dinner with my wife and her parents. That was a roller coaster from weed cookies to pissing. Oh my god. I think I'm only gonna have time for like 2 short ones now. Oh, today I fucked up by having the username Soundman1488 for 15 plus years of being on the internet and being unknowingly identifying myself as a Nazi. Great! I found out here on Reddit that my username that I've used for 15 years all over the internet was connected to Nazis because of the 1488. They ban me on r/ask Reddit for it. I posted it. I posted about it on here and changed my name to r/Nazi stole my birthday. Wouldn't it be u/ r/ask Reddit unban me? This post blew up and got really popular. It got me a 3-day suspension from Reddit for circumventing my ban on r/ask Reddit. This morning I found out that somehow this post got changed to contain a ton of really inappropriate racial and homophobic slurs along with threats of violence. This was not me. I have no idea how that happened. Some of you won't believe this, and I understand that. I would be skeptical myself if I were you. For what it's worth, I would never say things that much like that, much less think them. My intention was to simply share my story, and it blew up way more than I thought it would. Some misguided soul thought it would be good to change the post and mess the whole thing up. I take responsibility for what happens on my account, but these statements were not made by me. Obviously, they have upset a lot of people. I wish I could meet each. This was not a stunt to try and get karma or awards. Again, some won't believe that, and that's okay. If you care, you can look at my original post on r/ban to see where I was trying to understand why my name was offensive. You can also look at my post and comment history on this account and my new one to see that this was very clearly not me. I'm sorry, everyone. I think I'm done with Reddit and. What? And on that note, I guess I'm going to end the episode here with a really messed up story to finish off with. I was hoping to get through a lot more today, but that edible story was super long. And I have nothing else to say except don't forget to subscribe to both the channels. I'm the Mad Scientist. Mad Scientist out. Holy fuck.